Hey everyone! Welcome back to East African Folktales. Let's jump straight into today's story.
In the rolling green hills of Kericho, where the morning mist drifts over endless rows of tea, there lived a woman named Chebet Langat. She was the kind of woman people noticed, not just for her beauty, but for her confidence and mystery. Her walk was graceful, her words sharp, and her habits unlike anyone else's. Chebet never drank tea, coffee, or soda. She only drank mursik, the fermented milk of her Kipsigis people. To her, mursik was not just a drink, it was a reminder of her roots, of the simplicity and strength of where she came from. People often said that Chebet carried two things everywhere she went: her calabash of mursik and her pride. She believed love should come wrapped in elegance and wealth. She admired ambition and despised mediocrity. Her heart belonged not to romance, but to the idea of success, the kind that came with status, luxury, and admiration. Among those who knew her was a man named Kiprono. He had loved her since their school days. Kiprono owned a small coffee shop in Kericho town. It was simple, warm, and filled with the smell of roasted beans and laughter. Every time Chebet visited, he saved her favorite spot by the window, where she could sip her mursik while watching the evening light fade over the hills. Kiprono loved her with quiet devotion, the kind that asked for nothing in return. But to Chebet, his kindness was weakness. She saw him as a man without ambition, one content with too little. She wanted more, a man who could give her a life far beyond the dusty streets of Kericho. Her chance arrived one bright afternoon when a black Range Rover stopped near the market. Out stepped Robert Kirui, a wealthy businessman from Nairobi. He was tall, well-spoken, and dressed in a sharp suit that gleamed under the sun. His gold watch caught the light, and so did his smile. He came to town for a charity event, but his eyes found Chebet before the evening ended. He spoke with charm, confidence, and a touch of danger. When he looked at Chebet, she felt as though the world had finally taken notice of her. Robert promised her a life beyond the hills, a world of fine things, travel, and influence. His words painted dreams that her heart longed to believe. Before long, he was calling her every night, sending her gifts, and visiting often. Chebet fell into his world completely, certain that she had found what she deserved. But there was someone else watching from the shadows, her cousin, Teresa, or Terry as everyone called her. Terry had grown up alongside Chebet, always in her shadow. Where Chebet was adored, Terry was tolerated. While Chebet commanded attention, Terry was often overlooked. Yet she had something her cousin didn't: patience and a quiet, calculating mind. When she met Robert, she saw the spark in his eyes and recognized it instantly: greed disguised as love. She also saw Chebet's pride and the cracks beginning to form in her perfect world. So she smiled and began to play her game. Slowly, Terry befriended Robert. She laughed at his jokes, listened to his complaints, and told him stories. Stories about Chebet that were twisted with jealousy and deceit. She told him that Chebet didn't truly love him, that she was still seeing Kiprono in secret, that she spoke of him behind his back. Robert, whose ego was bigger than his heart, began to believe her. He grew distant, his tone colder, his affection thinner. His messages came later, his visits less frequent. Chebet, who had built her happiness around him, started to panic. She tried harder, dressed finer, smiled more, and ignored the emptiness growing inside her. Kiprono, who still cared deeply, noticed her pain. He would watch her pass his café every day, her face a mask of forced confidence. He wanted to reach out, but he knew she would never accept his concern. Chebet was still trapped in her illusion of luxury. too proud to admit that the love she fought for was already slipping away. One evening, Robert stopped answering her calls. Days later, whispers began to spread, quiet conversations in the market, laughter in small circles. Chebet didn't want to believe it, but the truth came anyway. Robert was seeing another woman. The name reached her like a knife through her chest. It was her cousin, Teresa. The betrayal broke her. It wasn't just about losing Robert. It was about being played in the very game she thought she had mastered. She had built her world on control, on appearances, on pride, and now it all collapsed. For weeks, she stayed indoors. Her phone silent, her calabash untouched. The sound of her own thoughts was heavier than any insult she had ever heard. She thought of Kiprono, of the warmth he once offered so freely, the kind she had taken for granted. One late evening, she found herself walking through town, her steps slow and uncertain. As she passed Kiprono's café, the smell of coffee drew her in. Inside, he was laughing with customers, looking at peace. When he saw her, he smiled, not the way he used to, but with kindness, without pain. They talked softly, as though time had forgiven them both. And in that moment, Chebet felt something she hadn't felt in a long time: sincerity. She realized that while she had chased wealth, she had turned her back on the only kind of love that never lied. Kiprono didn't ask her to stay. He didn't even bring up the past. He just listened. And that quiet acceptance pierced her deeper than any words could. When she returned home that night, she sat by the fire with her calabash of mursik. She stared into it for a long time. The reflection staring back wasn't the proud woman she once was. It was someone humbled, broken, and learning. She lifted the calabash and whispered, "You cannot drink peace from a cup of pride." Months later, Chebet changed. She stopped chasing validation and began building her own path. With the little savings she had left, she opened a small café, one that served both mursik and coffee, blending tradition with modern life. She named it Chebet's Calabash. People came from all over to try her drinks, but what they really came for was her story. She welcomed everyone with warmth and laughter, telling them that life, like mursik, is both sweet and sour, that one must learn to drink both tastes with grace. Kiprono sometimes stopped by, and though they never rekindled their love, there was peace between them, a friendship that needed no apology. As for Robert and Teresa, their relationship burned fast and ended bitterly. The same manipulation that united them tore them apart. And when gossip about them reached Chebet, she didn't react. She simply smiled and poured another cup for her customers. In time, her cafe became a gathering place, a home for stories, for lessons, for laughter. Chebet had found something more lasting than love: wisdom. And every morning, as the sun rose over the Kericho hills, she lifted her calabash of mursik, took a slow sip, and whispered to herself, "To love simply is to love truly." The wind carried her words through the valley, a gentle reminder that pride fades, beauty changes, but truth always remains.
That was today's tale from East African Folktales. Until next time, remember to like, subscribe, and share the stories that keep our heritage alive.